It all started with one telephone call. The call was made from the American Broadcasting Company in New York to my television company, the Bombay Broadcasting Company in New York. And the phone call was from the producer of Good Morning America, a very popular morning TV show, David Hartman. And he was calling because the crew was going to India to do a series of political stories on Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi, who was campaigning for re-election. And they also wanted to do some soft stories. And on the top of their list was an interview with celebrated dancer Yamini Krishnamurthy. To their surprise, neither the Indian embassy or the Indian consulate had the phone number or contact of the great, wonderful Yamini ji. So they called me because I was the only television producer of Indian content in New York. Well, I also didn't have Yamini Krishnamurthy's number, but what I did is I called my aunt in Delhi, who got the number and called me back, all within a turnaround time of 24 hours. And of course, the number was given to ABC. But that got me thinking, how is it that our most celebrated icon in classical dance, Yamini Krishnamurthy, does not feature on the telephone or contact lists of any of our embassies and officials? So I thought, why not a phone book of dancers? And that was the genesis of Narthaki. When I came to India on my next visit, just a few weeks after, I went to New Delhi and I met all the officials of the culture departments. And I asked them for their list of dancers. They all were very kind and they gave me a list, maybe 4 pages or maybe maximum of 8 pages. But they also assured me that they were going to come out with a national directory within the next 12 months. That was the year 1990. Well, I did not want to wait until that book was going to come out. So I said, I'm going to do it. Let's just do it. So Narthaki, as a first edition, was designed by Swati Bakshi. And we decided to have a kind of a burnished, metallic feel to it. What's interesting is, in the 1992 edition, my name featured in Bharatanatyam. In the second edition in 1997, my name featured in both Bharatanatyam and modern. And now, of course, I have my own identity. But between 1,000 addresses and 3,000 addresses, there was a gap of 5 years. And so much changed. Remember, for those of you who lived during that time, overnight, telephone numbers went from 5 digits to 6, then 7 and 8. And so we decided to go online. April 14th, 2000, the debut of www.narthaki.com. When the first edition, when this book, which was covered in a beautiful fabric of dance practice saris with one single salange, the gunguru, and with a thin gold thread, this was sold out in 6 months, especially from dancers, because they unanimously said one thing. They said, you have democratized dance. You have made contacts possible. I wanted it to be a connector. Just an easy phone book. Call people up or write to them. When we went online, they were so grateful. In fact, many of them had them as their screensavers, their wallpaper, and it became their go-to like first thing in the morning. I started my monthly editorial column on the first of every month called Anita Says, in which I was sharing my opinions of what I saw on dance in India and world dance because I was traveling so much. The backbone of Narthaki.com is Lalita Venkat, our content editor. She joined us in 1995, after the first edition and before the second. Also, Sumati, our webmaster. We hardly see her and she's at the computer 24/7, but Lalita and Sumati have really been the backbone for everything that I can dream and do. The pandemic has been a very important moment for the Narthaki brand. We went from being a web portal, a site for information on Indian dance globally, to becoming a curator and a producer of programs. For the past 2 years, from the time the pandemic hit India in March 2020, we launched into what is now recognized as our most innovative digital venture, Boxed, which was mainly contemporary dancers and some classical dancers examining what it was to be locked in, caged in, boxed in for 2 minutes. Boxed went on to then generate Talam Talkies, the connection between South Indian cinema and Bharatanatyam. In October, we launched Devi Diaries, a celebration of the feminine divine. And then in December, Andal's Garden. On Shivaratri, we created another property called A Nidra in celebration of A Rudra. So I wanted to launch a parallel or a second idea, a digital idea, and call it Neo Narthaki, because I wanted to address the growing interest and clamor and voices that were emerging from what was once considered the margins of the sidelines. Looking back at 3 decades, 30 years of Narthaki, we can say that we have grown and changed as the dance world has also transformed in dramatic ways. We've watched times of writing notes and booking trunk calls to the speed of having the world in the palm of our hands. And we've been with Indian dance and dancers all through the way. I want to thank the thousands and thousands of people all over the world who have placed their trust in us and who continue to value what Narthaki brings. Good content, an aggregator of international dance information, and also now a front-runner and award-winning curator and producer of original dance events. It's been a delight to be at the helm, and I'm looking forward to many, many more years ahead.